The MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and economic security. They're a threat to our very democracy. They refuse to accept the will of the people. They embrace political violence. They don't believe in democracy.
As President Biden last night, his first public political event in a month. Earlier at a private fundraiser, he went even further. What we're seeing now is either the beginning or the death knell of an extreme MAGA philosophy. It's not just Trump. It's the entire philosophy that underpins the I'm going to say something. It's like semi-fascism. Lauren Wright is here, associate research scholar and lecturer in politics, public affairs, Princeton University. Probably not anywhere in How to Win Friends and Influence People is to call people semi-fascists, but ultra MAGA to semi-fascists, this inspires his base. Is it a deplorable moment?
You know, it's not quite. I think they made a choice to say semi-fascist and not fascist, but I mean, probably a comms team looking at some of the things Donald Trump does and says very freely, this sort of authoritarian, often militaristic tendency, a far right, comfortable with nationalism, all of that language is getting pretty close. And so I think the Biden team is probably trying to not name call while getting attention to be drawn to the extremes that are part of Trump's philosophy. And I don't know if they've hit the mark.
Or if it backfires, right? It backfired on Hillary Clinton with deplorable. It backfired on Barack Obama with cling to guns and religion. I want to get you on this, though. There's some Republicans, at least, who are moderating. Blake Masters in Arizona. Arizona Republican Senator Blake Masters softened his tone and scrubbed his website's policy page of tough abortion restrictions as his party reels from the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade. Is there something in the polling that is showing us that suburban voters are really turned off by certain parts of the Republican orthodoxy right now?
Well, they don't agree with a lot of things that Republicans are doing and saying. I mean, you have a former president that's under multiple investigations. A lot of Americans understand that, and they know that's basically bad. They also don't agree, the majority of Americans, that the 2020 election was stolen, which is a lie Trump continues to tell. And then there's this huge issue of abortion that does alienate a lot of moderate voters, which are the key to winning any election. And so Democrats are just playing the hand they've been dealt. They're not going to get into the economy and what could be done better. They're going to say, look, you don't want this person to be in power again. Right.
Yeah, they don't have to now. I mean, you think about what we're not talking about right now as issues. We're not talking about inflation, largest drop in housing prices since 2011. The market's falling 1,000 points today. Monkeypox. We're not talking much about Afghanistan. 1 year later, we will. Or really President Biden avoiding the press. It's been a great 4 weeks for President Biden, largely out of the spotlight. He's been on vacation, did a couple of speeches. And then to the point that you even have CNN saying, where is he?
It's been a long time since I've interviewed him and spoken to him or had a town hall. So I know he'll be watching this interview.
You know, his chief of staff, Ron Klain, made the point even out there. He's like, look, we're not putting him out that much. Can we say that the 6 or 7 points of bump in the polls that he's gotten in the past month is because of part of this strategy?
I don't think so. I think it's these macro conditions that you and I talk a lot about, because sometimes Biden has no control over them and sometimes he doesn't deserve credit or blame. And so when those things happen, when gas prices drop, people, especially independents who are moving these numbers chiefly, are going to start feeling a little bit more positive about the national economic condition.
Well, and if that continues, things will change between now and November from certainly what you and I were talking about back in May. Lauren, it was great to see you. Have an awesome weekend.
Thanks, Leland.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.